Practicing your instrument or working on a song in your DAW? Well, the Pomodoro Technique can help you manage your time, take breaks at the right time, and make sure you make the best use of every single second. So what is the Pomodoro Technique? Well, Pomodoro is actually Italian for tomato, and allegedly this was invented by an Italian guy who bought a timer that was shaped like a tomato. And he used it to devise this technique for managing his time when working on a task. Typically, you set a timer for, say, 25 minutes. You then work on the task for that 25-minute period. After the initial 25-minute period, you take a short break, typically 5 minutes. You then set the 25-minute timer again and repeat the short break again, and you do that for 2 to 4 Pomodoro intervals. At that point, you then take a longer break, typically 20 to 30 minutes. You then repeat the whole thing as many times as you want to get your task completed or until you're finished working for the day. Now, why am I talking about this on my channel? Well, you can apply this technique to musical activities. For example, if you're practicing your instrument, you could have a separate Pomodoro interval for each section of your practice. For example, you could have an interval for working on technique, then another one for working on improvisation, another one for working on that song you've just been learning, or you could dedicate a separate interval to different songs that you need to practice. And I find it really helps me focus on the different things that I need to work on. If I don't do something like this, then I just tend to sort of meander and my practice is not very structured. Now, we should address the main criticism of the Pomodoro Technique, and that is that it's not very flexible. You know, the 25-minute work interval, the 5-minute short break, and the sort of 20 to 30-minute long break. But that's the thing, you can tailor this to whatever intervals you want to use. If you want your work interval to be 15 minutes and your short break to be 4 minutes, that's fine. And there are loads and loads of apps you can get on your phone, web applications you run on your computer that will allow you full flexibility to set all the timer intervals to whatever you want. So I don't really accept that criticism. I like to use an app called Pomofocus, where all the times are completely adjustable. So if I just give you a quick demo of it here, so there we go. At the moment, we've got the work interval set to 25 minutes, short break to 5 minutes, and long break to 15 minutes. But you can change them to whatever you want. Supposing I wanted to set the work interval to 35 minutes, short break to 7 minutes, and the long break to 30 minutes. We can do that. Let's just OK that, and you can see 35-minute work interval, short break 7 minutes, long break 29 minutes. So you can set these to whatever you want, and after a bit of experimentation, you will find what works best for you. Another musical activity this is great for, that I use all the time, is for mixing. Now, it's very easy for the ears to tire when mixing, especially when you're working on headphones. You know, I would say if you're mixing on headphones, you don't really want to do that for more than about 15 minutes without a break to reset your ears. And the Pomodoro Technique helps you enforce those breaks rigidly. So if I was mixing, typically I'd set the work interval to 15 minutes, the short break interval to 5 minutes, and the long break to maybe 20 minutes. It's also great for when you're arranging or editing in your DAW. If you're like me, if you're tired, then you will tend to make poor editing decisions. So the Pomodoro Technique helps you battle that tiredness by taking regular breaks. When I'm working inside a DAW and editing, I do tend to want to not stop. So, you know, time will just fly by. So by having a rigid time framework to stick to, it really helps me enforce those breaks and not just wander on as I'm getting more and more tired. Now, the Pomodoro Technique is great, but there are some things it's not that suitable for. For me, I don't find it particularly helpful with songwriting or coming up with ideas for songs. I find in that situation where you're trying to be creative, it interferes with the creative process. When I'm trying to create stuff like that, I tend to I tend to want to be in a freer environment, non-rigid, where you can just let the ideas flow as they happen. So that's the Pomodoro technique as applied to musicians. Try it out. You might find that it gives you a new sense of discipline when you're performing your musical activities. And it can help you make the best use of the time you have available for music, which, if you're like me, is limited, and I want to make the best use of it wherever I can. I shall put a link to Pomofocus, the Pomodoro Technique app that I use, in the description below. This is Paul from Home Music Creator signing off. See you in the next video. Cheers.